Krishna, please engage me in your loving devotional service. And so now service will come. You have to be ready. So when Mataji taps you on the shoulder and says, can you help me with this service or that? So you have to say, oh yes, I'm ready. Did you ask Krishna? He's giving the service. So please forgive me, I'm struggling trying to get over some sickness. Biggest sickness that we have, we're struggling to get over, is that we have this conception that we are this body. So this body, thinking that I am this body is my biggest confusion. It's my biggest sickness. But I'm not my body. So no matter what this body does, if I can get up and do my service, then I'll do that. Sometimes we can't do that, though. But most of the time we can. So we're going to talk about action. Action in the modes. So what about actions? Actions speak quite loudly, don't they? Actions speak louder than words, people say. That's true. You may say one thing and then do something else. But at first I'll recognize and I'll understand what you're saying to me. After some time, I know how you do. I can see your action. So no matter how hard you try to disguise how you are, those actions will eventually come out. I'll get to know you through your actions. What is it that you do? And you notice when people meet you, maybe in the office when they first meet you, or at a convention, or someplace, they'll say, oh, what is your name? Oh, my name is this, that. What do you do? You notice that? What do you do? So if you say, well, I'm a software engineer. Oh, no, I am. So that's your activity. I understand your activity. Whether or not you're a good friend or someone that I can trust, that'll depend on me getting to see your actions. But you've told me your activity. Someone may say, well, I'm a physician. That's my field of activity. You see, my process of acting. I'm a physician, or I'm an engineer, or I'm an attorney. People hear about your activities and they get a picture of it. But then after I experience you and see how you act, then I will categorize you in another different way. Does that make sense? So actions really tell the truth. So what causes us to perform different activities? Anybody? Before that, what makes us perform an activity? And all those things are right, but there's three modes of material nature. Three modes of material nature. Exactly. The modes are acting, and whichever mode that I allow myself to get into is going to more than influence my activities, right? It's like, what is it that can actually make us, force us to act? Does anybody know? Can you be forced to act, even if it's against your will? Desire. Desire, but lust. Yeah, because Arjuna asked Krishna that. In the third chapter of the Gita, I think it's verse 36, Arjuna asked Krishna, what is it that sometimes forces us to act? We find ourselves acting as if forced. You see, it's lust. So, is it lust, or is it I'm lusty because I want something, right? So, yeah, I have this strong desire. So, what if my strong desire is to serve Krishna. Does that mean I'll never be lusty? No. I'm still going to be lusty. But instead of being lusty to serve myself and please myself, I'm going to be lusty to serve Krishna and please Krishna. You see? What is that word for that? Rupa Goswami tells us this longing, lust to serve Krishna. Lust for devotional service. You see? So, it's the modes that we find ourselves in. So it's not so much the activity as it is the intent behind the activity. A good example, let's say that you're in one room, and over in this room over here, there's a man that has a very sharp knife. And then over in this room over here, there's another man. He also has a very sharp knife. So a room over here, a man in each one has an extremely sharp knife. Both of them intend to cut me. One of them is a thief. The other one is a surgeon. Cutting is the same, right? The intent is different. The thief, he is cutting to harm so he can take. The surgeon is going to cut to help. You see? So our intention behind our activity means everything. You see? It's like if you're walking down the hall, you pass somebody and they accidentally bump you. Well, they didn't mean to hurt you, or, they didn't have any. They were in a hurry to get to see the deities. So they didn't disrespect you. They were looking down the hall. She's Jivananda right there. I'll be there in a minute. So that's different than someone who intentionally bumps you, right? Maybe he bumps you just to be mean. Intention, you see. So the intent behind our activities is extremely important. It's driven by our desires. And what are we trying to get from performance of these activities? Does this make any sense? So, like everything else, activities fall within the three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. So, there's actions that are in the mode of goodness, and we're going to read a little bit about the 18th chapter. Krishna talks about various things in the different modes. One of them is action. Action in the modes. The very first one here, Krishna says, Niyatam Sandamahitam, Agaryadvish Satakritam, Pala Petsuna Karma, Yat Tat Satikam Uche. That action which is regulated and which is performed without attachment, without love or hatred, and without desire for future results, is said to be in the mode of goodness. What does that mean? Action performed without love? What does that mean? Anybody? Prabhupada explains it in the purport. Prabhupada says, regulated occupational duty as prescribed in the scriptures in terms of the different orders and divisions of society, performed without attachment or proprietary rights, and therefore without any love or hatred, and performed in Krishna consciousness for the satisfaction of the Supreme without self-satisfaction or gratification, is called actions in the mode of goodness. In other words, I'm doing something not because I love to do it. That's nice. If you say, oh, I really love to do this particular activity, and I want to do it for Krishna. Well, that's pious, isn't it? That's very nice. It's like if I like tomato chutney, and so I'm having you to my house, and I want to make tomato chutney because I like tomato chutney, and I'm very good at it. My mother taught me how to make it. You see, so I want to do it. That's very nice, isn't it? But wouldn't it be nice if I found out what type of chutney you like? Huh? What if you don't like tomato chutney? So we may have so many ideas of things that we want to do for Krishna. That's very nice. That's pious. But loving is when I find out, my dear Lord, what do you want me to do for you? You see, if I find out that you like mango chutney, and I don't really like mango chutney, but you're my guest and I want to serve you nicely, then I will make you mango chutney. You see what I mean? That's the way we should approach Krishna. Without love or hatred in what it is that I do. But I'm doing it to please you, my dear Lord. I'm doing it for you. That's an act of love. If I'm sharing with you something that I like, that's an act of sharing. It could be friendly. And it's very nice. But let's take it a level higher. Let's get into acting in love. That's called bhakti yoga. I do for Krishna what Krishna likes. We find out that Krishna likes this chutney or that chutney, whether you like it or not, you may develop a taste for it. I remember in 1976, I was in India. I was in Mayapur, and I used to hang around outside of Prabhupada's room whenever I thought I could get away with it. Pusta Krishna Maharaj was there. Sometimes he would be gone, so I could kind of stroll back and forth from Prabhupada's room. You know, I wasn't supposed to be there, but I thought maybe I'd be a little pussy or something. And so at that time, I was convinced that I wasn't very attracted to, or I didn't like to eat any brinjal, any eggplant. Didn't like it. Why? Well, my mother cooked it. She didn't know how to cook eggplant. You know. And so I was hanging around, and then Pusta Krishna Maharaj comes out of Prabhupada's room with Prabhupada's remnants in the tray. And he looked at me and said, "What are you doing here?" "Oh, you're wanting some remnants, aren't you?" This Prabhupada had just finished his lunch. And I said, "Yeah." So he took this big handful of Prabhupada's remnants and he gave me. And I looked and I ate it. You know, wow, that was so good. What was that? Then I said to him, "Wow, what was that?" "Eggplant." And before I could say, "But I don't like eggplant," before the words could come out of my mouth, I realized I really like eggplant. You know, Prabhupada liked it. So it changed. And then, ever since then, I've cooked and loved eggplant, you see. And I've experienced many people who say, "Well, I don't really like it." Let me show you how they cook it in Bengal. How they cook it in Gujarat. Let me show you how. Until you've tasted it the right way, cooked the right way, you may not like it. See what I mean? So, because Prabhupada was so attached to it, and I'd actually heard my god sister Shruti Rupa was cooking for Prabhupada, and she was saying Prabhupada likes eggplant. He likes it, and I thought, yeah. She asked him one day, or Prabhupada asked Shruti Rupa, "And so what is for my lunch today?" And she said, "Fried eggplant, Prabhupada." And Prabhupada said, Oh, all attractive. All attractive. So, and after that, I would cook eggplant and offer it to Prabhupada. And so, because my guru was so much liking eggplant, it took on a whole different attraction. You see what I mean? So, anyway, when you add the element of love, we're concerned about what our beloved likes, isn't it? If you're going to buy your wife something for her birthday, well, you buy her what she wants, right? Not what you want her to have. Some of you may do that once. She probably won't do it again, will you? You know, it's like, buy her a set of golf clubs for her birthday. You know, it's what you want. Or, you see what I mean? What you find out, this is flattering. Find out, what is it that you like? Because I want to give you something that you like, or I want to do something for you that you would really prefer. I want to show my affection to you. You see what I mean? So this is action in the mode of actually pure goodness. Above goodness. My dear Lord Krishna, how can I serve you? What is it that you want me to do for you? Please direct me. You know, up until that point, if we get to that frame of mind, we may be a little hesitant to say, my dear Krishna, I surrender and I'll do whatever you want. Wouldn't it be terrible if Krishna asked you to do something you don't like to do? You know, my dear Prabhupada, well, what would you like me to do? Here, I want you to eat some of this eggplant. No, but I don't like eggplant. You see what I mean? So we're hesitant to do what Krishna wants. We're hesitant to, as Prabhupada always said, fully surrender. Because my love for Krishna hasn't advanced to that point yet. You know? My dear Krishna, I have a lot of great ideas what I want to do for you. But I'm not to the point of saying, my dear Lord, please engage me in your love and devotional service, whatever and wherever that may be. You know? So we have to get to that point. We have to get to that point where we'll go wherever Krishna wants us to serve him and do the activities that he wants you to do. And to have the faith that when I get to that situation, I will experience great ecstasy. I remember I was distributing books many, many years ago in El Paso, West Texas. And I had spent most of my time back in the eastern part of the United States. And some, a lot in Dallas too. But a lot of back in the mountains, western North Carolina, eastern Tennessee, it's very pretty there. Big trees, rivers coming off of the mountains, fresh water that you can drink. Right out of the river, you can do wilderness, And so I really did have an affection for that part of the country. So here I am in El Paso, distributing books. And I'm thinking, I don't like it here. And it's hot. It's dry. It's really hot. There's no shade. Why? Back in the mountains, there's shade everywhere. There are trees that look like they scrape the sky. And here I am. You hardly find, if there is any shade in this parking lot, somebody's parked them. There's maybe in a mall parking lot, there's thousands of cars and maybe 10 little trees that give a little bit of shade. Well, you don't get those, right? So every so often I would go back to the car. I would get tired, thirsty, and so I would sit down in my van. Of course, I'm not in the shade, and it's like 200 degrees in the car. I take some drink of 200-degree water, and I remember saying to Krishna, Krishna, I am so thankful that you're engaging me in your service, but I don't want you to think that I prefer the desert. I don't want us to have that misunderstanding. Just because I'm here and I'm feeling ecstasy distributing books, I don't want you to interpret that I'm asking you to engage me in the desert. And then I thought for a moment, but I want you to send me where you want me to send me. Engage me where you want me to be engaged. And so here I am in Phoenix. And I live in Tucson. And I travel to Flagstaff. And you see what I'm talking about. When Krishna realized, you are ready to go where I want you to go, and love it, I'll send you there. And then I found myself serving in the desert and loving the desert. And now when I travel other parts of the world and these big trees that scrape the sky, I'm not impressed, you see, because I have my Prabhupada dish. You know that term? Prabhupada dish. It's the place, dish, of the place where you serve the food. It's and so that is where my guru wants me to be. Krishna and Guru have sent me, and it's ecstatic. It's wonderful. See? So we should think about that. My dear Lord, regardless of what I think I like or I dislike, I want you to engage me. You see? What if I lived someplace where the topography was different, but I couldn't serve? Then I would be in trouble just like everyone else, doing what I want to do for me. You see, where I want to do it for me. That's not spiritually healthy. Does it give you any? It doesn't give you ecstasy. Basically, what it does is it gives you time to pass sometimes and stress. The material world is full of stress, isn't it? Anxiety. How many people here, show of hands, how many people know somebody who is completely stress-free? Does anybody know anybody like that? Other than the devotees. And the devotees have stress from time to time. But it's stress in that I want to serve my Guru, Krishna, on a higher level. I want to speak to those people there. And I'm feeling some difficulty getting to do that. Why do I want to do that? Because that was what my Guru ordered me to do. You preach. And until if I can't do that, then you feel like I can't breathe. You see? So, we talk about not being attached, but then we want you to become attached to your service to Krishna. Because if you become attached to Krishna, you'll also become attached to your service to Krishna. See what I mean? So, therefore, we're talking about this action in the mode of goodness. I'm going to move on to the next part. Are there any questions at this point? Comments? Anybody? Criticisms? You can criticize if you want. I have thick skin. Oh, criticism already, huh? Get this guy. No, that's
Thank you so much. You have said a lot. Little bit question.
Yeah.
I did that. Us being and falling in the lineage of Srila Prabhupada, I would say, is it right to say that he has clarified what he wants when he says, like, chanting the 60 rounds, attaining programs, or reading Srimad Bhagavatam, reading Bhagavad Gita? Does it itself explain what he really wants from his followers? Or is it that we need to go to somebody else to find out more about it?
If you want to follow, if you are a direct disciple of Srila Prabhupada, and if he didn't tell you what he wanted you to do, then we have to get into his mood. He will tell you. Maybe not directly. He may not all of his disciples that Prabhupada say, I will. But you can tell. How can you tell? When you get into his mood. So what is the mood of the Guru? You see? If you're not a direct disciple of Srila Prabhupada, then you find someone that is. And you find someone that is in the mood of Srila Prabhupada. This is for everyone, You can get in the mood of Srila Prabhupada through someone who's in the mood of Srila Prabhupada. But if we want to know Prabhupada, we want Prabhupada to talk directly to us, then we read his books. And you have to have a surrendered feeling. Not like I read and I remember the things that help me in my motives. Then we get into the mood of Prabhupada. What is Prabhupada all about? What is he all about? Save the world. Before you do that, save yourself. Save yourself, save the world. You can't save 7.5 billion people, save as many as you can. How many can you do? 1, 3, 300? We don't know. You'll never know until you dedicate your life to it. And then you'll find out. You see what I mean? So we know what Prabhupada's mood is. That's obvious. Why did he struggle so much? When we write these books, so we distribute these books. We complete that desire that Prabhupada had. We want everyone to have one of these. We want everyone and read it. And to keep them from speculating about what they read, we need to do. They need to become familiar with you. So first you become saved. And then you save the guy next to you. And then the other guy, and then the other guy. You reach out, you see. So that's, if we want to do what Prabhupada wants us to do, it's obvious what Prabhupada wants. Does he want us to, some people could say, well, I heard Prabhupada say that we should do this. We should start a farm and learn to be self-sufficient. I heard Prabhupada say that. All right, so that's your step towards saving the world, if that's what you want to do. If you're convinced that's what Prabhupada would like you to do, then you may go do that. And that's your activity for saving. Whether you're preaching or taking care of the cows on the farm, there's two things you have in common. All devotees should have in common. You're living such a wonderful life that people will want to be like you. So that's the first requirement to become a devotee. You have to give up material life, take up spiritual life, and that means you're taking up a very wonderful, enriching life. So then people may see you and think, I'd like to be like you. So your actions will speak much louder than your words. You may say, well, my book that I read says this, and that. But then they see how you are with your family, with your friends. They see how happy and satisfied, how pleasant your life is. And they think, oh, such a nice life you're having. What is your philosophy? So if you live the right life, they'll ask, tell me something about your belief. You see. So if we want to know what Prabhupada wants for us, we have to read and read. We have to hear. To become devotees, we have to hear. And that includes reading. We have to hear a lot. We have to hear a lot every day. We have to read as much as we can, you see. We were talking last night about different ways of studying Bhagavad Gita. Sometimes you'll study Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. One way is that you can take and you read it. You start with a chapter and you read every translation. And then you go back through and you read the translation of that purport. See, that's one very nice thing. And another way, there are many. Another way when you have time is you take a verse and you read the Devanacari. You read it, and then the translation. And you get to know those words. And then the verse, the translated verse. And then the purport. You do this all very slowly. Like in the beginning, people have a tendency when you first read, you just want to get it done. It's like that when you read a book, isn't it? You want to see if it's a mystery, who did it, or you want to get the story. So it's common and it's natural. You read it. Bhagavad Gita is not like that. The first time, read it. Then go back and read it again. And sometimes when you can make time, you'll never get time, but when you make time, you can just take a verse and just live with it for an hour. You know? And you think, what is Krishna's mood here? What is his mood? When you get to know the mood of Guru, then you know perfectly how to serve. You see what I mean? You get to where you can anticipate. You can anticipate what Guru and Krishna want. How is that? Srila Prabhupada had many very qualified servants. And one of the best, if not the best, but certainly one of the best, was Sri Kirti. You know him? He was so intent on his service to Prabhupada that he really paid attention. He could tell when Prabhupada tilted his glass for a drink. He could tell at the angle of the glass. And he was interested in how much water is left in that glass. Now, any good servant will refill his guru's glass when the guru says, could you get more water, please? But a really first-class servant, he anticipates. Prabhupada would take the drink, then he would drink. Then at some point, Sri Kirti knew, I need to refill his glass. So without Prabhupada asking, the glass would be refilled. If it's cold in the room, you feel it chill, get your guru's job. If you see the guru squint, close the blinds. You see what I mean? Proact. This is anticipating. This is an act of love. You know, the husband anticipates the desire of the wife. if he's a good husband, right? I think some husbands do that. You see what I mean? So out of this love, reading Bhagavad Gita and love for Prabhupada, you get to anticipate. Not that I know what I would do, what would be good for me, so that I could become famous or powerful. But I know what Prabhupada wants. I was fortunate. Prabhupada told me what he wanted me to preach. So, did I answer? Okay. Good question. All right. Now let's move on to the next activity. By the way, what time should I wrap it up?
Between around 6:30, 6:35.
6:30, 6:30. You got it. Text 24, the 18th chapter. Krishna says, Yatu Hame Krishna Karma Saha Sahankarena Vapunaha Kriyate Balu, excuse me, I can't see. Balu Layasam Tad Rajasam Udra. Krishna is saying, I'm getting over a cold and my vision isn't so good, so please bear with me. But action performed with great effort by one seeking to gratify his desires and enacted from a sense of false ego is called action in the mode of passion. Action performed with great effort by one seeking to gratify his desires. That's action in the mode of passion. Pretty much that's the way we have to do our business life, isn't it? And if you're going to be successful in some career, you have to have a strong desire to do it, isn't it? Not that you just go to work and you sit down in the mode of goodness, and because you're so good, you get promoted. It's because you're assertive, if not aggressive, to do the job. You see, isn't it? So Krishna says that action performed with great effort by one seeking to gratify his desires and enacted from a sense of false ego is called action in the mode of passion. So can we be in the mode of passion and serve Krishna? That's the question. What do you think? Huh? You bet. What's Krishna trying to get Arjuna to do? Get in the mode of passion. Take your bow and fight. Not just fight, but fight the expert fighting that you can do. You are the best, you see. He wants Arjuna to get completely in the mode of passion for Krishna's desire. Krishna says, I want this war to be won by you. So Arjuna can't just go out into the battlefield in the mode of goodness, can he? Then you see Arjuna in the battlefield. Hey, how are you all? How are you today? Do you feel like surrendering? No? Come on, don't make me come over there. No, Arjuna charged like a lion. So therefore, you also can use this mode of passion to serve Krishna. Can you use the mode of passion to perform your business to serve Krishna? You bet. Yeah. Because you're doing your occupation as a devotee, you're performing your service, whether it may be a software engineer, a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, whatever it may be, you're performing that as an offering to Krishna. That's what devotees do. We do our activity as an offering to Krishna. an offering to Guru and Krishna. But yet you're compensated, just like the guy who's doing it to satisfy his false ego. Is that okay? What about the karmic reaction for you're part of this whole deal and you're being compensated? Can you purify that? How? How do you purify that? You take some of that and you offer it to Krishna. You have compensation, take some compensation, offer it to Krishna. What happens if you put some big pot of dal, big pot, and you take some out, you take out some, and you put it in a nice silver bowl, and you offer it to the deity? What happens to that dal? It becomes prasadam. What happens to the dal in the pot? It's prasadam. So, if when you get your paycheck, of course you don't get paychecks anymore. So many years ago, when I was in the Greenhouse of Life, they gave you a check. They don't do that anymore now. It's just numbers appear in your computer, isn't it? Isn't that funny how we I have Lakshmi. Look at the numbers in my computer, they're bigger. And it gives me great joy. I see numbers get bigger. Oh, how is that? You say to your wife, oh, my wife, come, look how big the number is. And she says, oh, good, they're so happy. Well, what if somebody were to go in there and they could hack into your account, make the numbers look bigger and bigger? You'd be feeling ecstasy. So when you get that extra money that's transferred to you, whether it's cash or check or just numbers in your computer, that's compensation, that's income. If you take some of that and you offer it to Krishna, it becomes Mahaprasadam. And the rest of your compensation also becomes prasadam. You're using it to take care of devotees, your family. Surely you have Krishna somewhere in your home. You have a little altar. So you live in the mandir. This is the Maha Mandir. You have a mandir in your house. You see? So you are living a Krishna conscious lifestyle. The reason why you go to earn your Lakshmi is to serve Krishna. And when you get that compensation, you use it to serve Krishna. To your ability. You can engage some of your activity to your ability. That may be different for different people, you see. So, but if you simply want to gratify yourself, then you're just simply in a mode of passion. And you're going to be struggling like everyone else. Okay. So, then we move into mode of ignorance. Krishna says, Anuvandam chayam husam, anapeksha cha purusham, moha avyate karma, tat kamsa uchate. Krishna says that action performed in illusion, in disregard of scriptural injunctions, and without concern for future bondage, or for violence or distress to others, is said to be in the mode of ignorance. That action performed in illusion. Most of our actions, if we're not Krishna conscious, practically all of our actions are performed in illusion. Because I'm thinking, if I do this, I'll have some benefit that will make me happy. And there may be some temporary happiness. But it leads ultimately to some distress. You see, if I'm just doing for me, if I'm just doing for me and you're just doing for you, then you're my competitor. You see what I mean? We see that the living entities in this material world are competing for the resources. You know? Have you ever seen, like, you ever fed birds? You throw seeds out to feed the birds? And sometimes they'll come and they'll fight over, you know? So they're just like human beings. Human beings have to struggle. I have to get that job before he does. You know? I have to get that promotion before he does. Struggling. So there's a competitive nature amongst we living entities that shouldn't be there. We are all parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna. We are all soulmates. Why would I compete with you? I only compete with you when I'm seeing for myself. If I want the opposite, I'm not going to compete with you. Does that make any sense? If I'm looking out for you, now some people would say, yes, but if I don't look out for myself, who's going to look out for me? How about Guru and Krishna? Well, you think Krishna won't take care of you? Look out for the living entities. You see? As an offering of love to Krishna. Why would Krishna not take care of you? If you let Krishna take care of you, he'll always do it better than you expected to do. That's a fact. He'll do it better than you expected. You see. In case in point, we all know the story of Sudama. Huh? Sudama didn't ask anything from Krishna. Krishna wanted to give him. So this is Krishna's nature, not just with one devotee. This is available to you too, Krishna. If you surrender to Krishna and take up the mood, or as close to the mood of the gopis as you can, what's the difference between the devotees and the rest of us? The gopis are fully convinced that Krishna is their only. They know they have nothing Krishna. And I'm here to tell you, neither do you. If you think you have something other than Krishna, that's true. You've got Maya. You have illusion. You think you have something other than Krishna? If you think you have some force that's helping you other than Krishna, you are wrong. What could it be? Your political party? They make promises. Every few years we have a group of people and they're saying, give me your vote, I'll look out for you. Some of the guys that are here that are a little older, I'd like to know, has that ever happened? I don't know about you, but I don't believe them when they go, all I want is your vote, I'll take care of you. No. I don't need your help, sir, because Krishna takes care of me. He takes care of you too. He takes care of Krishna is the source of everything for everybody. And the fact is, we don't have anything but Krishna. If you have Krishna, what do you have? You have everything. Everything. Fear goes away because you're drowning in protection. Poverty goes away because Krishna is the wealthiest. You may not be concerned about wealth, but yet, because you're close to Krishna, wealth is always close. There's always more than what you need. If you turn to Krishna and say, I dear Lord Krishna, I don't have anything. Krishna says, but you have me. And you'll always have me. I've always been here. You've always had me. But your consciousness, you weren't conscious that you had me. But now you know you have me. So, does that make any sense? So, in the mode of ignorance, disregard for scriptural injunctions. Let's not perform activities in disregard of the scriptural, scriptural injunctions. How do we get to know that? Two things. First of all, if you haven't yet, seek out a spiritual master. Seek out a guru. We all know the process, isn't it? We all know the process. You find a guru. Find your guru. Krishna's been so kind, he's allowed me to find you. And now, my dear guru, you be so kind, give me Krishna. By the mercy of Krishna, one gets guru. By the mercy of guru, one gets Krishna. You see? Climb out of the hole, the material hole. Climb out. But you're not going to be able to do it yourself. I'm here to tell you that's not going to work. You will fail if you try to do it all by yourself. It's not going to work. But yeah, if you can find a guru, then it can happen just like that. See, just like that. You can get Krishna, you can get Guru as quick as you can surrender. And then, what do you think the Guru is going to want you to do? He's going to want you to become Guru too. Save those around. Maybe you don't become Shiksha Guru. Or maybe you don't become Diksha Guru. You start to accept disciples. You become Shiksha Guru. Give your mercy. Take the mercy from Guru and Krishna and give it to someone. Taste the real happiness in life. There's nothing as sweet as seeing a life change right in front of your very eyes. Because you gave them Krishna consciousness. There is nothing like it. You will become completely addicted. And it will haunt you the rest of your life. You have to do more. It's that wonderful. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, no one is more dear to me than those who do this. Nor will there ever be one as dear. Isn't it? I mean, you hear what Krishna is saying. If you help me save these lost souls, then you're the most dear to me. No one ever is dear. You see? Krishna is asking you, he doesn't want to be and force people to become his servant and to love him. But he wants to engage you to approach people and try to persuade. Don't remove their free will, try to persuade. First and foremost, you lead with having a good life. You're a good person. You're a trustworthy person. You're a loving person. You're everything that people want to be. That's the definition of a devotee. One who's in love with Krishna is like that. Bad qualities fall away. You see? All right, so are there any more questions or comments before we close it up? Anyone? So this was a good question that you were raised. We need to, if we get, yes. Yes, ma'am.
Give us some example from your past of where you were at some temple or some situation where there was some action done that kind of involved you and that you were involved.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were a lady. I can't see very well. But I thought it was her holding her hand up, but then it's you. I'm sorry. Boy, there's so many. Some action that happened where I got involved. Wow, thousands, yeah. I remember, well, I can remember, the first thing that popped into mind may not be exactly what you're looking for, but I remember in 1975 in San Francisco, at the San Francisco Run Theatre. So we were all at Golden Gate Park, waiting for Prabhupada to arrive. And I had kind of estimated where Prabhupada's car was going to stop because I wanted to be close to him when he got out of the car. And that's all I wanted to do was get close to Prabhupada, you know. And so, sure enough, here comes Prabhupada's car. He comes out. And sure enough, he stopped right where I was. You know, I had calculated it just right. And so, the car door opens and Tamal Krishna Goswami he got out. And Prabhupada was on the other side of the car, and Jivananda Maharaj was in the front seat. So by the time Tamal Krishna Maharaj got out, the crowd realized Prabhupada's here. Up until that moment, they didn't know Prabhupada. This is a lot of people, you know, thousands of people. And so just about that moment, the crowd started to close in. You know, they started to move up. And so Tamal Krishna looked at me and he said, hold those people back. Wow, you're going to hold these people back, huh? And so I just said to the people next to me, I started yelling at them, grab hands together, form a human fence. And so people, even people that weren't devotees, they, yeah, okay. So we all locked arms to keep the crowd from moving up. And Prabhupada came around the car, and he had to squeeze between me and the car because the crowd was pushing him. And then there was this one really big-bodied person. I mean, he was like a giant. And he was a little somewhat mentally challenged. And he started running through the crowd. And he was like maybe this much taller than everyone else. Like he was 8 feet tall. Big. And he was saying, oh, what is he from? What is he from? What is he from? And I could see people, bodies are flying out of the way because he's like moving people. So Tamal says to me, stop that guy. Well, I didn't have time to think. You know, if I had thought, I would have thought, there's no way this guy could break me in half. So I just turned around and I said, stop it. And the guy looked at me, and he turned and started running away. So then I turned around and Prabhupada was standing right in front of me. He looked up at me. He looked like he wasn't disturbed. Prabhupada wasn't disturbed. So he said, kind of what you had in mind. You know, that was one instance. It didn't happen at the temple. It just kind of flashed into my mind. Later on, I thought, wow, what if I had actually taken the thing? I would have said, not in your life, I'm not going to take this guy. But because I did, it worked. I don't know how it worked, but it did. So, good question. Thank you so much. All right, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna. Very nice class. So please give the project.